Welcome to the I Hate Critics Movie Review Podcast. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick. Hi, Jeff.
Hello. I just want to go on record right away saying I am going to try my damnedest to mute myself when I cough or sniffle or sneeze, but I've been sick all week, so just like everybody else in my area.
Yeah, it's that time of year. It's unfortunate, but we have a podcast to do, goddammit. Be a professional.
That's why I'm going to hover over the mute button, bitch. Oh, good times.
Oh, indeed. We're on all the various social media whatnots and so ons, and patreon.com, where you can pay for Jeff's medical care.
Yes, please do. Just go to my website and buy some art for me. Just like message me and tell me what you're interested in. We can circumvent Etsy's egregious price structure, and I could just mail it to you plus shipping. That's all we need to do.
Get a really terrific looking painting of your pet as well. That's not a joke.
Mm-hmm.
That's not. You do amazing work on those, and you do really well with those.
Yeah, I am actually in the process. I've been talking about this for months. It's going to be a running gag on the show, but I have started to really update my website. I'm trying to figure out a way to the company that I've gone with for the last almost 12 years. They only offer sell on PayPal, and it doesn't notify you if you get a sale. So I'm trying to figure out a way to insert links to the pieces on my Square shop so I can start selling and stuff on there. So, yeah, but that's one way that I'm trying to circumvent Etsy because they are so expensive to work through, and the fees just keep going up. So yeah, if you see anything you like on my Instagram, I just added some new Friday the 13th stickers. The ultimate Friday the 13th sticker pack, just in time for our next Friday the 13th, which is in March, is live on my Etsy. But if you want to order it directly from me, that's cool too. That's all the Friday the 13th stickers I have, plus a couple extra prizes. Yeah, do that. So.
Very cool. Let's see, what else? News. There is news. We have had another passing. Robert Carradine has passed away. I think most of us know him for Revenge of the Nerds, I would say. That's how I know him.
He's Lizzie McGuire's dad, too.
He was in the big red one with Mark Hamill.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he had a very long career. He was in the business for a very long time. Now that I'm doing stuff with movies of the 80s, one of the things that I've been dreading is the fact that Revenge of the Nerds has to be coming up soon, and I just don't ever want to see that movie again because I just have a feeling it's going to be probably the most 1984 movie imaginable.
And I did Days of the Dead last year. They were doing a Revenge of the Nerds, or the year before. Revenge of the Nerds. No, it was last year. I was only up there. I didn't actually do the show, but they were doing a Revenge of the Nerds 40th anniversary, and I did meet him, and he very nice guy. I understand that he suffered from bipolar disorder and had some issues and whatever, but super nice. They were having such a good time. Did get to sit in on part of the panel with them. And then he was actually supposed to come to the Quad Cities last August for a show, but when we were going through all of our TSA stuff and all the planes were getting grounded and whatever, he was not able to make it. So I did not get to actually hang out with him like I was supposed to. So really sad about that.
Yeah, that whole family has just been through a lot, to say the least, and him and his brothers. So it's good that he's at least at peace now.
Exactly. And something that I think you might find kind of funny. We are doing this on Tuesday night, the night of the State of the Union address, and at the same time that is going on, Turner Classic Movies is running Guess the Movie.
Mr. Smith goes to
Gaslight.
Washington.
No, Gaslight. If that's not the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life, I don't know what is. Because
Wow. Nice
yeah, they
troll job,
really
AMC.
right.
Or I thought they were
Just
going to
yeah,
go with the counterpoint like they typically would, which is Mr. Smith. I mean, that's
yeah.
the obvious counterpoint, but wow.
Oh, but I heard that I was like I was reading Patton Oswald's feed, and I read that and I just laughed for like a solid half hour. I thought that was really good of them. So Turner Classic Movies, way to go! The troll of the
I mean,
year.
you can't not want to pull that one off when you when you know when you have the option. There's that had
Oh,
to be
exactly.
irresistible to somebody who thought of that.
I just see Ben Mankiewicz getting like giddy and giggly as he's pushing the send button on that.
Oh,
Oh,
darn, we are missing out on that, aren't we? The Festival of
Gaslight. I've got it
Lies.
on DVD. Angela Lansbury's first Oscar nominated performance.
That's right. Wow. Here I thought
Amy.
she was only ever in Murder, She Wrote.
Nope, nope. Sorry, Amy. And as we're speaking, I'm sitting here staring at her face because I've got my stickers that I send out when people order them are behind my computer on the wall, and my little Angela Lansbury action figure from NECA is right there. So we love an Angela Lansbury reference on this show.
Absolutely. And of course, the I Hate Critics 1996 podcast, you can hear Amy tell you about every actor who ever appeared on Murder, She Wrote that happens to pop up on the show.
Yes, yes.
Let's see. In terms of other news, the box office over the weekend was bad.
What box
It
office?
was Goat came in number one, did a solid hold for itself, 38% drop from the previous week. So Sony Pictures Animation has another hit on their hands, and of course, a number one movie, passing Wuthering Heights, which dropped nearly 60%, which I can't seem too surprised about, considering how bad the buzz was for that movie. I thought maybe like all the negativity, because like literally everyone on movie YouTube has done a video on Wuthering Heights, and we did a whole podcast on it last week. I thought maybe that might drive more curiosity, maybe keep the film from falling off too quickly, but no, it's dead in the water already.
Sorry, Emerald.
There's only so much you can get out of just shocking and appalling people, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
I can only imagine too as a religious film, and struggled comparatively, considering the last one I think was a pretty big hit, but only made 7 million. Crime 101 obviously is not doing as well as it should. It deserves far better. It's such a good movie, but it's only made 5 million this weekend. Is going to drop off pretty quick. Send Help in its fourth week did a solid $4.4 million, but a total of 55 million overall, and beginning to slow down pretty quickly. The epic Elvis in concerts. Now this one is pretty impressive, Jeff, because this one didn't come to our area, and it was only in 325 theaters, but it managed to make
Oh
a
wow.
top 10 appearance with over $3 million.
Well, if going to estate sales has told me anything, is that Elvis still lives because they are filled with Elvis ephemera that people snatch up. So people still love Elvis.
You got to wonder if they had put that into more theaters, could that have been a top three opening potentially?
I mean, possibly, yeah. I mean, I know around here, I can think of 5 people who were like, oh, I can't wait to see that. And then it didn't show up here. So,
The new movies this week did so badly that Zootopia moved back into the top 10
oh, wow.
despite dropping over, I think, 200 theaters recently. And having dropped out of the top 10 last week, Zootopia 2 moved back into the top 10 because everything else this weekend did so poorly.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, hate to see it because this is bad for movie theaters, and I want movie theaters to thrive, and I don't like seeing this happen. But I mean, when you put out the movies that came out this weekend, I mean, I can't imagine what anyone was expecting out of the two new movies that we're going to talk about because neither one of these had a very good hook. It would seem.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
not to mention
it's
the fact
just
that when we talked last week, you said you didn't even know that this How to Make a Killing movie was ever coming out. So,
yeah, they did a really and I nothing against A24. We're the A24 stand podcast. We've always loved A24, but they really dropped the ball on this one. I don't quite know what the thought process would be on this opening where they just sort of drop it in the at the end of February with no promotion and pretty much nobody talking about it. It's just suddenly there in theaters. Um, I don't know if they were thinking maybe that the box office for Running Man was so toxic that they just buried it. I'm not sure. I mean, I could see that as a possibility. I mean, the box office Running Man's going to write down over $100 million.
yeah.
Glenn Powell, whatever you want to say about him as an actor, he's radioactive at this point. Um, so maybe that's the case. It only did $3 million. It finished in sixth place behind just everything I already mentioned. It really only narrowly beat out Zootopia 2, which again is doesn't speak well for any movie. Um, yeah, you gotta wonder just what the hell anyone was thinking.
Yeah. Should we just go ahead and talk about that movie? Because I can tell you what I was thinking.
I just want to mention one more, and that is Psycho Killer, which we'll talk about later, which didn't even break the top 10. It actually finished behind Avatar, which has been out for how long now? Let's see. Avatar's been out for 8 weeks.
Yikes.
Wow.
Again,
That's,
though,
hmm,
I didn't even know this movie existed
yeah.
until I looked at the schedule for the theater for our local theater. So
It's
I don't know what
what
they
a
expect.
What a weird weekend. But yeah, How to Make a Killing, terrible title. Cannot keep every time I go to think of this title, I forget it. If I didn't have it in front of
Yep.
me right now, I probably would have called it something else. But it's literally I'm looking right at it. How to Make a Killing stars or how to make a did I get it wrong? No, How to Make a Killing. Uh stars Glenn Powell as a kid who was born to a very rich mother who had been turned away from her family after she revealed that she was pregnant. She raised him as a single mother and told him that, of course, he was the part of the lineage of a very rich family. When she passes away relatively young, he grows up a little bitter, but also just willing to move on with his life until circumstances conspire to put him in place where he could, he's only seven people away from making this gigantic fortune if he could just get those seven people out of the way. And so he introduces a little bit of moral flexibility into his life by kind of wanting to impress Margaret Qualley a little bit, but also just wanting to get out of the situation that he's in and take advantage of this terrible family, the Redfellows, who are just awful human beings, every one of them. And he sets about, I don't know, home aloneing his way through killing these people.
Yeah. Um I I just don't understand the concept of it as far as like is it a comedy? Is it a dark comedy? Is it a drama? It doesn't really kind of is it cohesive in any way for me? Um I don't I it didn't seem like an A24 movie.
Uh-huh.
I'll say that. It seemed like it wanted to be a Coen Brothers movie, but it wasn't clever enough.
Yeah, very
Um,
much so.
Glenn Powell, like you said, is radioactive. I don't know the obsession with him. Um, if he's sleeping his way through Hollywood, getting all the right people because he just. I remember him from Scream Queens. I think I talked about this when we talked about The Running Man,
Mhm.
and he was he was fine as a small character actor, in a couple like little bits, and he was kind of funny as the character he played on there. But in no way is he a lead actor. He sucks kind of the charisma out of the roles he's supposed to. And I think if you had somebody um who had a little more charisma um in this part, then I would have gone with it a little more. As it is, like Margaret Qualley was completely wasted. They wanted to make her a femme fatale, I thought, and she just came
Mhm.
across as a bitch. Um, and she's the kind of woman who uses this guy, and there was nothing redeeming about her. Um, like in Honey Don't, it's a noir-ish movie, and she plays it like pitch perfect. And I feel like they gave her one direction, and they gave him another direction, and filmed all their scenes separately. You know what I mean? I just he was playing like trying to be a femme fatale. He was playing somebody who's kind of smarter than you think he's supposed to be, but he's really not. And again, he lacked any sort of charisma in this role.
It's
Um,
weird. It's a weird choice that they make because I think the main thing that they're trying to do is they're trying to make him. They want so badly to get you to think of oh god, what's the kid's name? The kid who killed the CEO,
Luigi
Luigi.
Mangione,
They
his
want you
name.
to kind of feel that sort of Schadenfreude of the desire to see terrible rich
Yeah,
people get what's coming to them, but they don't have enough commitment to that idea. They don't have enough, they don't have really enough commitment to that idea because they don't want to get called out for that.
yeah.
The the term recently that I think I mentioned it before, Schrodinger's douchebag. We want to be, we want to be one thing, but we don't want to own that thing. So we're going to only pretend we're that thing, but we're not that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the movie that wants to be, kind of a Robin Hood underdog story of stealing from the rich, poor guy taking advantage of the rich, but it just doesn't have the nerve for it. It doesn't have the spine to be that kind of nasty. They keep wanting us to like Glenn Powell's character, and he is, he I think he is like, well, I do think he's a better actor than you think he is. I liked The Running Man. I still stand by thinking The Running Man
I
was pretty
don't
good.
I don't think
Um,
he's a bad actor. I think he's a not a movie star, and they're trying to push him as a movie star.
but the
That's
chin, Jeff, that chin.
oh god.
But
And
I think they don't give him enough. They don't give him enough attitude or enough shading. They keep trying to pull him back to this sort of nice guy everyman who doesn't want to do this kind of thing. I don't know if I really want to do this. When really he should be relishing this and having like a two-sided personality. Like I'm trying to think of a good actor who could have played something like that, and it's escaping me. But there
I
are
have
several actors I think could have pulled off a role like this, where they're the smiling face of good guy on one side and the scheming
I've got one
villain
for
on the
you.
other side. Hmm.
Callum Turner from
I'm not
Eternity.
familiar with Kellen Turner.
Remember Eternity that we just watched a few weeks ago with Elizabeth Olsen and Miles Teller?
Kind of, yeah. I really didn't care for that movie, so
I didn't either, but I thought he was good, and he has that charm. That's he's good looking, not overly good looking, um, but he's got that kind of charm that you're kind of rooting for. And
mhm.
then he could make a turn because he made a turn in that movie. And I just remember that. I was just trying to think of somebody like around the same age as Glenn Powell who could pull that off. And him or Miles Teller, or, there's a number of people.
But it would also require the director, writer director, John Patton Ford to commit to that idea too. Like I do wonder if
Yeah.
maybe Glenn Powell thought he was going to play it that way, but nobody wanted to really commit to being as nasty as this premise wants to be.
Yeah. That that ultimate being a really nasty character, but smiling on the outside to everybody who comes around him. That would have been great. But he's pulling off, I'm a really nice guy, but I guess I'm going to have to kill these people because I want some money to get this woman who doesn't even care about me.
His motivation is
So
so strange throughout because he he doesn't necessarily desire being rich. Like he could actually stay where he is, working for that suit maker. If that guy
Yeah.
hadn't fired him, like he could have been happy doing that. Apparently, at least that's what he give the energy that he gives, and that getting fired kind of pushes him in the direction of wanting to uh, do what he ends up doing. I just found it very odd. Like the roadblocks that they would throw in front of him were just so weird. Like he gets a great job from the uncle that he was planning to kill, Bill Camp, and builds a life for himself and meets a girl, Jessica Henwick, who happens to be dating his cousin, played by Zach Woods, but who was clearly going to leave him for Glenn Powell. So, I mean, he didn't necessarily need to kill anybody at that point, and he ends up still doing it. And the movie doesn't give him enough motivation to do that. They don't really underline that he felt how bitter he must have felt about them abandoning his mom, because they do drop in the detail that her illness that she passed away from could have been something curable had she had the best possible doctors, but they don't underline that enough. They don't give him any kind of point where he talks about his feelings about that and whether or not he was
Yeah.
actually really how bitter he really was, because he seems so happy with Jessica Hedwig's character and settling into this new life that maybe I don't need to kill anybody.
Well, and I also think that like I don't feel that the family was fleshed out enough either. I mean, yeah, we get okay, they're douchebags, we get it. Um, I would have loved to watch a movie where it was him against Zach Woods the whole time because Zach Woods was my favorite part of the movie. He was so dumb and like blasé about everything, and he just when he when he called himself a white Basquiat, that was the only time I really laughed in this movie because I just thought he's like, oh yeah, it's white Basquiat, and I was like, okay, um, you know, it's stuff like that where I was just kind of like, oh, I would have rather have, the only thing was, you know, between him and this 27 billion or whatever inheritance was him and Zach Woods is playing dumb but is smarter than, I keep rewriting the movie every time we talk about it, but
I think you hit on a movie that I think is very funny. Would be the idea that yeah, Zach Woods is the only one standing between him and the inheritance, and he keeps trying to cause these accidents to kill Zach, and he's just completely oblivious to it. Like he's just
yeah.
such the character that he is. He's so obnoxiously self-involved and dumb that he can't realize that there's anybody trying to kill him. Meanwhile, he's got the pull also of Jessica Henwick, who is dating Zach Woods' character, and maybe if she finds out that he's a killer, maybe she won't want to be with him. Like he's got to risk having a relationship with her while also wanting to kill this guy to get the money. That would be an interesting idea here, but then you've got like Topher Grace's character is completely wasted, completely useless. I don't know
Yeah.
why anybody thought to use that. Ed Harris is basically a villain because he's Ed Harris and he just looks angry.
Yep.
The female family member, I don't even remember her name. Like they kill her off with like it's just completely thoughtless. Like she apparently has a bunch of adopted children which just do not get mentioned. And there's no there's just no explanation what happens to them when she is killed off. It's bizarre. That was a bizarre thing, and they don't give her an actual character. She is just vaguely snobby rich woman.
And he poisons her somehow with cold cream or something. I don't know. It just, yeah, it was really, I think they realized that they had kind of a turkey on their hands, and that's why they didn't market it. And that's the only thing I can think of because A24 is usually about, they're really good at marketing stuff and getting you to want to see something. And I, again, you hadn't heard about this until last weekend or last week when we talked about it. And I only knew it because there was a poster in our local theater that I walked by a couple times. So yeah,
Yeah,
this was not my favorite
it's
movie
a
of the week.
mistake. It's a mistake. Yeah, this movie was a huge mistake that no one that really shouldn't have happened. I don't think it's terrible. I should point out that I don't find this movie to be terrible. I just find it to be spineless for the most part, which is a different kind of terrible. It's competent. It's not poorly made. I don't think John Patton Ford is a bad director, and I think there are moments when Glenn Powell and Margaret Qualley are pretty good. I just don't know what their conception of Margaret Qualley's character was supposed to be. She does provide, like the tipping point of the entire plot, but it really does seem forced to just kind of keep her in the movie when you decide that she's also not the main love interest. And the it's a weird series of choices. Like, had they gone with a character who was more with a good deal more shading, that somebody who has to like then end up with a woman that he does not want to be with, but will accept it because he's kind of a nasty person himself. Then you have an ending that's the Faustian bargain this should be. Like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
instead we've got a guy who's kind of, oh well, I guess I have to fuck Margaret Qualley the rest of my life.
Oh God. I
Oh
was watching.
man.
I was looking this up while I was preparing for the show a little while ago, and I looked at the IMDb page, and there's an interview with Glenn Powell, and there's one with Topher Grace, and the look of boredom and contempt on Topher Grace's face while he's waiting for a question to be posed to him is funnier than almost anything in this movie. He just does not want to be doing press for this movie. I think he probably knew what a dud it was, and just was like, God, I wish I wasn't like contracted to do press for this movie. Because he just, this look on his face of utter boredom and mixed with contempt is amazing.
Well, he probably had only recently seen the final cut, which I'm sure he was he was probably
Yeah,
a lot of the stuff he did was probably cut out because his character is there and gone in less than 10 minutes.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I just want the Zach Woods version of this movie because he was my favorite part. He was like when Jamie Kennedy was good right after the original Scream for like 25 minutes. That's who Zach Woods is. He's like playing these characters that are broad, and he was great on The Office, even though he came in on the quote unquote lesser seasons.
Mhm.
He's got something. I don't want him to be a movie star, but I want to see him in more stuff.
Yeah, I don't ever I think we need to apologize for that Jamie Kennedy reference.
Well, I'm just, I guess I should qualify it. This character is like something that Jamie Kennedy would have played, that kind of freewheeling, like um idiot who's oblivious. Not that Jamie Kennedy is anywhere near Zach Woods' caliber. Jamie Kennedy is a one note pony.
The star of Son of the Mask
Ugh.
and Malibu's Most Wanted.
Malibu's least wanted. Thank you very much. But he's got that Randy from Scream energy in this movie, so that's, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Should we just
All
stop
right, so
recording?
neither of us recommend How to Make a Killing. Unfortunately, like I said, I think it's more mediocre than bad, but there's a lot of problems with it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, our other new movie this week is called Psycho Killer. The only
Very
reason this
subtle.
apparently, sorry.
Very subtle title.
The only reason this ever got any attention because it was written by Andrew Kevin Walker, who wrote Seven, and was a David Fincher collaborator multiple times, and that's basically how this got made somehow. Gavin Polone also is a well-known producer, known for the Dog's Purpose movies, which that's the guy I want directing my horror film. So let's get the Dog's Purpose guy. Um, and the star of The Savior, James Preston Rogers. The Savior is a religious wrestling movie, Jeff, that also co-starred Rowdy Roddy Piper. So the
Oh,
pedigree on this one just goes so deep.
yeah. Now that you say that, I'm trying to think back and think of, was this in like I guess there was some I guess it was kind of a religious. It could have been made by as a horror movie by Angel Studios or something. Fuck. Now I don't like it. No, I
Kenneth
actually,
Branagh's been in Hollywood for 20 years, and this is the first movie he's directed. He's always been a producer before this, and you can tell why.
yeah.
The direction is super flat, super blunt, which some might say that was a choice because the title is super blunt. No, he's just not. He's just not a very good director. the, the idea here is that a member of the Kansas State Police, played by Georgina Campbell, watches as her husband is murdered in front of her during a traffic stop by a guy known as the Satanic Killer, who's been going across the various interstates and byways of America, just killing people and leaving behind satanic symbols because he's looking to open a gate to hell. His way of doing that is reaching out to Mr. Pendleton, played by Malcolm McDowell, to get a piece of information that he needs about a guy he wants to kill who can lead him to his ultimate goal. That's a very thin plot. There isn't really much else to describe beyond that. Georgina Campbell's character, Jane, goes after him. She's a member of the Kansas Highway Patrol, but she's apparently smarter than the entire FBI and the entire United States legal apparatus. You can't
Well,
catch a
to be
guy who's
fair,
driving the most flashy fucking car on the planet and is not subtle about it.
to be fair, while this movie is going on, the FBI director is in Sweden or wherever, drinking beers in the locker room. So, I mean, let's she very well could
Yeah.
be. I didn't hate this movie. I really didn't hate this movie. I thought
Really?
that it
I
was
did. I thought I wasn't miserable, but it's flat. It's not well directed. It is not well acted, although I think Georgina Campbell is doing just an incredibly hard work in this one. She's doing so much to try and make this work. There's just it's so thin and so dull, and there's just the direction is so flat that I could not bring myself to care in the least about this movie, despite her effort. The whole Malcolm McDowell plot is just a complete waste of time. He just basically needs somebody to go online for him. That's basically all he comes down to. Can somebody go online and find me a address of a guy? Because the psycho killer, he doesn't go online. He's a killer. He's a Satan killer. He doesn't have time for the World Wide Web. Can't go to a library and look something up. He's got to get to hell. Oh my God, what a dim-witted movie, though. This is truly like, I just think it's pretty bad. And I'll allow you, you go ahead and tell me what it is that you might have found remotely appealing about this.
no, I'm good. We'll just go into
I'm sorry.
No, I didn't hate the movie. I thought it was fine for a low budget dumb horror movie. I once I got into it a little bit, I'm like, okay, this is not Seven for sure. It's not even Friday the 13th in the beginning, but it was fine. It was one of those movies where it was like, okay, this was streamable. I certainly uh did not I kind of wish I hadn't paid for it, but it was one of those ones where if it was like on Tubi or free to watch on whatever, I wouldn't have felt like I wasted my time. Um I I thought the look of the killer was decent. Um I thought while it was really, really, really dumb, ultimately, I thought it was kind of an interesting mission that he had to blow up 3 Mile Island, which was like, what makes you think of 3 Mile Island? Nothing. Nobody like younger than us even remembers 3 Mile Island.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty stupid, but I thought it was like, okay, sure. You know what? It's dumb. It's yeah. young, dumb,
Mixed
and
with
full of cum or whatever. But I just and
it's got
I did
I
think,
just love the Deus Ex graffiti scene where she's stuck she's um outside a place where where they think the psycho killer might be hiding out, and oh look, there's a piece of graffiti that says 3MI. What does that mean? Then she looks around. Oh, 3 Mile Island is over there.
yeah,
Like,
I
oh
thought
my
Georgina
God.
Campbell
How are
was
you as a
decent.
director? How is a director not embarrassed to do that? Like as a filmmakers, you have to be a little bit embarrassed when you've reached a point in your movie where you need to do that.
Yeah. Okay. And I thought Malcolm McDowell died. I don't know why I thought he died recently.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
Like,
He seems to die in my head repeatedly somehow.
like
Um,
I mean, I based on this, his career has because he didn't even really do anything in this movie.
no, not even a damn thing.
Did a
Other than
couple
be
voiceovers at the beginning, but
he's like he's a satanic grocery store magnate. That's which I think he was probably tickled just by that character description, and I think that's the only reason why he's there is because he gets to tell people I played the satanic grocery store millionaire.
look, if he'd been a pedophile, it would have been more um,
On the
believable
nose.
now. So he's got to be satanic at least.
Oh man, this movie doesn't have the balls to say that he was on Epstein's island or something. You know,
Yeah.
like come on, man. I know this script has been around since 2009, but you've had plenty of time to do some updates. His
Okay,
character,
2009,
like,
really? That actually
there's
makes a lot more sense now because 2009 people might have like vaguely remembered 3 Mile Island because it was only like 20 years,
yeah.
30
Yeah, that was
years,
like
whatever.
Fred Durst was set to direct this back in 2009. That's what they first started getting this going, and then after he dropped out, Gavin Polone apparently has been so excited to do this for 15 some odd years, and wow, man, 15 years. This is what you came up with, huh? Oh boy.
Yeah. I think that it makes sense that this was written 20, 30 years ago. Um, but yeah, like I said, it was like if it had been streaming, I would have felt a lot better about it.
Mhm.
But that's because I've been sick all week and I could have laid in bed and watched it and just been like, okay, sure. It was a movie. It happened.
Just so
But
I'm not completely, being hateful towards Gavin Poloni, he was involved in Zombieland and a pretty good movie in 2012 called Premium Rush. He's also done a lot of real crap. The dogs
well,
are his movies. So yeah,
yeah.
that's fun.
So this, all I know now. Okay, now that I know it was not written as a religious horror movie, like an Angel Studios horror movie, I feel a little better.
That's
Um,
good.
but yeah, if it, I just, I if there's ever an Angel Studios horror movie, I'll probably just take out an entire busload of elderly people.
Yeah, that I'm not see. I think it wasn't Angel Studios, but there was a one of the religious movie companies made a Saw parody. It's not a parody, but like they made their own Saw movie.
Oh
But the whole
god,
thing was, all they did was this: they would lock people together, and they couldn't leave until they made up with themselves and God, until they'd settled their issues and settled their issues with God, and then they could leave. And if they
that's
didn't, they might be locked away forever.
sounds like something our youth group used to do. Time for a lock in, guys. And by that, we are being completely literal.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a fun little memory. Kids back in the 80s, they used to allow kids to be locked in a building with religious people.
Oh, Jesus. I did have my first sexual experience with a man in there, and it wasn't the religious leader.
What was the pastor's
Um,
name?
It was a classmate.
Ugh.
Yeah, but yeah, those lock-ins. Oh my God, if you never experienced a lock-in or heard about them, just the absolute worst idea. Like almost as bad as daddy-daughter dances.
Purity
Just
balls.
uh, yeah,
I dropped out of the Catholic Church pretty quickly, so I never ended up in one of those things. Thankfully, I was out pretty early. I was like 9 when I was like, "See ya, not going.
well,
I'm
this
gonna go
was
hide somewhere."
so our we had a lock-in when I was in high school. The guy that I liked was part of this youth group, and it was not like nobody was really religious. They just went because it was something to do, and it was we'd get a bunch of high school students together or whatever, and then on a random Saturday night in the summertime, they said, let's do a lock-in at the church. Well, I got locked in with this guy that I followed to youth group, and one thing led to another. And um, yeah, every time I drive by that church when I go home to visit, I just smile a little bit.
You defiled a church. Congratulations.
I've defiled a lot of places, Sean.
Now this is getting appropriate for our classic because our classic is Crimes of Passion, which
Oh
is
yeah,
defilement on another level.
wow, this movie. Holy fucking shit.
Anybody
Wow.
knows something about defilement, it is none other than Ken Russell, who is one of the most incredible, brilliant, bizarre, terrifying directors in film history. A man who has offended, I think, more people than your average pornographer. with- but does so with so much talent that it's undeniable, and that's what makes him so beautiful, is that he is so incredibly talented, Ken Russell, that you can't fully dismiss him, no matter how much you might find his movies offensive. He also did Altered States, where he where he famously nearly killed William Hurt and tried to kill Paddy Chayefsky. Um, and just he worked with Oliver Reed a lot, which you can only imagine what that set must have been like with Ken Russell and Oliver Reed on it.
Oh my
That just sounds
God.
like one of the stages of hell. Um, but here he is working with Kathleen Turner on, I think this was right after Body Heat, so it was close between this one and another one of being her second or third film in a lead role. And she plays a woman who has a respectable job during the day, and at night she's a sex worker. And boy, is she ever a sex worker! She is. She has this job. She does sex work because she just wants to, because she really likes doing it. And
Oh
she's
yeah.
really good at it, and she'll let you know how good she is at it. You're watching her do things that are just shocking and exciting. I will never hear Onward Christian Soldier the same way ever again.
Oh, she's dressed as a nun while she sings it, and oh my God. Oh,
Just phenomenal, because that's part of a subplot that surrounds Anthony Perkins, who plays a truly transgressive character, a fallen priest who spends his days jerking off in a nudie booth and his nights trying to pretend that he's still a priest and trying to quote unquote save her from herself. And uh, his character kind of goes is very gross. He's always dirty, always sweating. Just really, truly, Perkins just leaning into something really dark and really disturbing, and I loved it. Then you've got this square dude who's the main character. He gets hired to follow Kathleen Turner because she's suspected by her boss at her respectable job of maybe stealing money, and he wants to know what it is that she does after work because nobody really knows a lot about her. So our straight guy just kind of follows her around, and of course he's going to fall in love with her. Like, how could he not? She's fucking amazing. And then he gets led kind of into a fatal attraction sort of situation, maybe. He also has a wife played by Annie Potts, who is just just the worst character, just terrible. Just this woman who has really no interest in her husband whatsoever, and is but doesn't also also doesn't want to get divorced. So she just kind of leaves them both, just leaves them both kind of miserable, I guess. I've never I've never seen anything quite like the human penis, Jeff. Have you ever seen an act quite like the human penis? Hello? Jeff?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh, okay.
Did you mute
Just
yourself to
dropped out.
cough?
Yes, I did. This is the second week in a row that we've seen John Laughlin's ass in a movie, in a classic. Last
Is
week
that
was
right?
Footloose,
Oh, wow. Huh.
and this week it's Crimes of Passion. Yeah, I wow, this movie. I recall seeing parts of it on HBO or something when I was young, and boy, fucking howdy, do I not remember how unhinged everything in this movie was. You're talking about Annie Potts, and yes, she is the worst character. And the part of this movie that I laughed at the most, aside from Onward Christian Soldiers,
Mhm,
was her and John Laughlin having their heart to heart towards the end of the movie. And it's just like it's worse than any soap opera I've ever seen. Just the way they're
mhm.
looking at each other, and they're not acting with each other; they're acting at each other. And it's like this has got to be a choice by Ken Russell. There's just no way it's got to be a choice because he's directing everybody else like they're actual human beings, and these people are just cardboard cutouts just in the scene. But yeah,
I absolutely agree. That's absolutely a choice. That is to counterpoint just how over the top everything else in the movie is
yeah.
to give you this very sort of straightforward, highly melodramatic moment opposite the moment you're going to get at the end with Anthony Perkins dressed
Oh
dressed
my
as a
god,
nun.
and Superman.
God, I
Oh
love this movie.
yeah,
I
this was a trip.
adore this movie. It made me so happy. This is the line of the century, and I'm shocked I'd never heard it before. Kathleen Turner says to Anthony Perkins, "I never forget a face, especially one I've sat on."
Oh,
How?
incidentally, I used that at work today.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just kidding. I'm looking for a new job. No.
Preferably one without an HR department. Um,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
uh,
this movie's unfucking hinged. I mean, everything about it, from just the melodrama between Annie Potts and John Laughlin, and the unhinged sex scene with Kathleen Turner riding the guy and sticking a billy club up his ass. I just, oh my god, I was like, what am I watching? I've seen tamer gay porn than this. Um, he's like handcuffed and he's bleeding. He's straining so hard. It's just like it's, and then she just throws the Bobby or the Billy Club on top of him afterwards, and it's fine. So he must have prepared. But
Kathleen Turner is so incredible.
yeah,
I totally list. It's easy to kind of overlook just how amazing she was. I mean, she does Body Heat and becomes a pretty big star off of that. She was actually
yeah,
nominated for Best New Star at the Golden Globes that year, losing to Pia Zadora, uh, who bought that.
uh,
Whose husband bought that for her, because obviously
oh
there's
god,
no possible way Pia Zadora would win anything ahead of Kathleen Turner in an acting competition. Then just never happened. Sorry,
yeah,
that's the least
yeah.
believable aspect of that fucking story.
Do you know I have a friend who from New York who is obsessed with Pia Zadora?
Yeah.
Obsessed. He's not like he's got a room dedicated to like Pia Zadora and the Lonely Lady, and he's touched her Golden Globe. And just, oh
Does
god,
he have a
so
garden hose hanging on the wall?
Oh, but yeah,
If you
Kathleen
don't
Turner.
if you don't know that reference, don't look it up. Don't look up Ray Liotta, Garden Host, Pia Zadora. It's not anything you need in your mind.
Oh, he has that garden house. Um,
This is my Pia Zadora room. Why is there just a hose? Trust me.
trust me. Oh God, yeah. It just she went from the Doctors on NBC soap opera to Body Heat to this, and then she became one of the biggest stars in the world.
Yeah, because she goes from this to Romancing the Stone.
Yeah,
Like that is a whiplash you can't even begin to imagine. It's like, which I'm going to have to watch. Romancing the Stone is coming up soon on movies of the '80s, and we're going to have to tackle that one. And that's hilarious that this was released the same year. Crimes of Passion was, I think, made before that one, but it came out after Romancing the Stone. Interestingly enough,
oh God, yeah. I love her. She's the first celebrity autograph I ever got on any of my artwork. When she signed my Serial Mom print, I just she is. This is what I mean. This movie is, Body Heat aside, this movie made her, like, cemented her as a star because
I'm
you can,
shocked. I'm shocked that more people talk about Body Heat than talk about this one. This one is I admire Body Heat. I like aspects of Body Heat. I love her in Body Heat. I think Craig Wasson kind of drags the whole thing down.
he
But
gives that to everything.
but I can't imagine why people talk about Body Heat and they don't spend any time talking about Crimes of Passion because this movie is fucking incredible.
You know
The
what
only
though?
reason no one
Body Heat
talks
is
about Crimes
way
of I
Body Heat
think
is way more accessible.
yeah. This one, I have to believe, just got buried in 1984 at the time it came out. Critics just kind of piled on it and really just didn't want to look at it because it was, another Ken Russell provocation. And uh, I have to feel that that's got to be what's going on. Especially, there was also like a great deal of sex fatigue. There had to be a sex fatigue in 1984 because everyone in 1984 is so fucking horny all the goddamn time. These the Your parents, your kids, your parents, and your grandparents, and who they were around in 1984, they were the horniest human beings on the planet because that was every fucking movie. Um, we when we did movies of the '80s, I've become obsessed and kind of pushed this obsession onto them about Blame It on Rio. The Stanley Donen movie that is just basically his masturbation fantasy that he decided to commit to film. And I hate that movie a lot because it's a lie, because it's a movie that pretends to not be somebody's masturbation fantasy. Ken Russell is telling the truth. You can take Crimes of Passion and put that right next to Blame It on Rio, and one of those movies is completely honest, and the other's a piece of shit, and that's Blame It on Rio because it's lying to you about being horny.
Yeah.
It's lying to you about its transgression, whereas Crimes of Passion is hiding nothing. It's just completely honest. And on top of being just deeply perverted and transgressive, it's also a really great movie. It looks amazing. The acting is incredible. Everyone in the cast is deeply committed. I think he chose Laughlin and Potts very specifically to be as colorless as possible because he's got so much color on the other side that duality, that dynamic of they're the outsiders. They're the suburban couple, one of whom is they're becoming connected with this other world that it's almost like Roger Rabbit going into the animated world versus the regular world.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah.
you want to use a Kathleen Turner, kind of a dualism idea, like he is just completely out of his depth in this other world because he has no idea this even exists. This Kathleen Turner world. Uh, it's so good. I fucking love this movie. It was a goddamn revelation watching it.
I Watching Anthony Perkins sit at a piano and start to play this dirge, like he's going to, it's going to be a death song, and then he goes, "Forget your troubles, come on, get ahead." And I directly into the camera and sings the entire song was life altering. Like I just I he this was right around the time that he was just leaning into the whole Norman Bates thing,
Yeah.
Psycho 2, Psycho 3, um, and Psycho 4. And he's just was like, you know what? I'm going to be typecast. I might as well have fun doing it. And he was so good in this too. I mean, he's just like, I think we forget because he did play Norman Bates so many times that he was a really good actor. And you can't pull this off if you're a bad actor.
Yeah.
And his psychosis and like he plays nervous really well, and he did that at the beginning, but by the end you just see that that psychopath is out and is not going anywhere back in. And then of course they put him in drag, but I think he probably
Yeah.
said, you know what, why didn't I play this in drag? But it was a good misdirect. You think something is happening and it's actually not happening. So
Well, and
yeah,
especially
I
since like things had escalated to that point where it just keeps topping itself, headed towards that conclusion,
yeah.
where you really don't know how it's going to end, and he just keeps adding layer upon layer upon layer to it. And it's just, he's counterpointing it by going back to Annie Potts' character and having that moment between her and her husband, in this entirely different universe, and then returning to Kathleen Turner's apartment to that scene, is just the way he structures it is just it's
Yeah.
fucking brilliant. I've had a hard time like getting into a lot of Ken Russell stuff because it is like some of it is really hard to get through. Like some of the stuff he did in the early '70s, especially, is it's very overwhelming. Like The Devils, I think is it. I think
Yeah.
it's called The Devils. He
Yeah.
also did Tommy, which Tommy is one of the least accessible movies that you could possibly imagine. Uh, Even though it's about the Who, it's the music of the Who, and it's got the Who's music that is incredibly accessible, but the movie itself is just it's like an ADD overload. It's like somebody gave a child cocaine in the '70s. Like it's a Tommy is a weird one. So his whole career is like that, though. He's bold. He takes chances. He's big. He never underplayed a single moment of his entire career, and God bless him for that.
I mean, the fact that he directed this movie, Tommy, and a version of Treasure Island.
That's weird.
I mean, yeah, it's just, and he did music videos. He did there's a song, I don't even remember the song by Bryan Adams called Diana. Gun
Wow.
to my head, I
No,
couldn't sing it for you. And he directed the video for that.
Ken
He
Russell.
directed Andrew Lloyd Webber. Yeah, he's so all over the place that, yeah, when the Melania movie came out and I suggested we do the movie Horror with Teresa Russell, he directed that too. It's like, oh, I forgot he directed that. But yeah,
Ken
just
Russell's
so many.
Melania. That would be something.
Oh God, Lair of the White Worm, which we talked about. Remember
Oh my
that?
God. What the fuck? Oh
That is
Jesus.
100,000% a Ken Russell movie, and I love that movie so much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just the he's just like music videos for Cliff Richard and Sarah Brightman. Come on.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
I'm looking at his IMDb. He went from Faust, which was a TV movie version of it, to Elton John video, to Cliff Richard and Sarah Brightman video, and then he directed Gothic. Remember that movie?
Wow. Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, I mean, this man, wow. Yeah.
If anybody was going to make a movie, the best movie of 1984, it was going to be Ken Russell.
Mhm.
We're talking about the horniest year in the history of the '80s. Ken Russell should make the best movie of that year. It makes sense. I'm kidding. I know Ghostbusters came out. I'll get around to that.
So did Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Yeah, that was never going to compete for best of anything. Um,
So
sorry, just
I
true.
quit. And
It's the
meaning,
best movie
yeah.
called Friday the 13th that came out that year. How about that?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Sean. Real close. I'm real close. No, I
Yeah,
really I love this movie. I will show other people this movie. Yeah,
it's called Crimes of Passion. It's available on Tubi somehow. You can watch this fucking movie on Tubi. If
yeah.
you can't have, if you're not like Jeff, who has the actual physical media of it, it's on Tubi. And how this movie is on, well, I guess I can't be that surprised. American Taboo is on Tubi, so what do I know?
Oh, I don't even know that. Do I know that movie?
You know, oh my God, that's the movie that traumatized me earlier this year. Uh, it's a student film that won the Student Film Academy Award in 1984, and it's about a 31-year-old man who is starts sleeping with his 15-year-old neighbor, and it's super
Ooh.
creepy. It's just it's gross, it's ugly, it's disgusting, and I can't. So much that he received so much praise in 1984 that I thought Jeffrey Epstein had become every film critic.
Oh wow, that's yeah.
Yeah, it's the only movie that can compete with Blame It on Rio for being the ultimately creepy movie. I kind of I lean towards American Taboo being the creepiest movie simply because she's portrayed as 15 and literally tries to seduce him while selling him cookies that she's selling for her, I don't know, ninth grade class. Like fuck you movie. Just all the fuck you to that. You fucking groomer movie. But it's close because Stanley Donen went to court to get Michelle Johnson to be
Yeah,
naked in his movie. So that's just creepy beyond all. I mean,
yeah.
hire
That's
somebody else. Hire somebody else. Hire another actress. Hire an actress who's of age. You asked her family to go to court so she could be naked in your movie. That's just you telling us what you wanted. That's just you
get
telling
the
on yourself, Stanley.
25-year-old who plays the little girl on Chris Hansen. You know, I'll be right there.
Blame It on Rio should have been an early adaptation of To Catch a Predator, but they're there to catch Stanley Donen.
Uh, Such a director.
Yeah, guess what, guys? All of us know what this director of Singing in the Rain masturbated to. Aren't we all lucky?
Uh, uh,
Yeah, it's a wonderful note to end on. Um, hey,
yeah,
Jeff, what's next week?
it's a Scream, baby. Scream 7. I'm watching all of the Screams again, just in preparation
You,
because,
you have fun with that.
um, I mean, like a lot of people from the previous ones are returning for um cameos, but they're either like the voice changer or AI or some shit. Yeah, they're setting it up to make it look like Stu is the killer. So if that's the case, I'm gonna be mad, but I don't think it is.
No, it's going to be Gail, probably, or she's going to die, one or
Mm,
the other, which is just
I hope
going to make
not.
me hate the movie. Either way, if they kill her or if they make her the killer, I'm going to hate it either way. But I hate the trailer. I've been complaining about this trailer for a while now. The trailer is so
Yeah.
dumb. She goes, another person hiding behind a voice changer. And he goes, oh, I'm not hiding. Then he emerges from a hiding place. Like, come on, man. Come
He
on,
does that in
man.
every movie. Yeah, he does that in every. Well, then show yourself, you son of a bitch. Absolutely, here I am. But yeah, we'll have to.
Wearing a mask so no one knows
Yeah,
who you are. So you're
yeah,
hiding. It's like,
exactly.
it's so dumb. It just makes it all look so dumb. Um, I think I liked the first Scream and the second Scream. I think I liked the fourth Scream. I really hated three. Three sucks. And then the other ones, I mean, the last one was just, it was brutality. It was ridiculous, over the top brutality. People are basically bags of blood that can be stabbed over and over and over again and never die.
I liked Scream 5 better than, or Scream 6 better than Scream 5, though. I thought it was just, there was no ghost of Billy Loomis in horrible de aging makeup. So yeah, that automatically put it over the top. So
And they did that young girl dirty, not bringing her back and getting
huh.
rid of her for why they
Yep.
did. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm a
That's
little
what
bit
that
bitter
makes me
towards
feel.
the Scream franchise, if you can't
Yeah,
tell.
I they have made a lot of mistakes. I hope I'm not I'm hoping this doesn't suck, but I'm not won't be surprised if it does. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. Movies, I mean, for me, and I'm mostly alone on this. Most movies that reach this level of sequelization are not good. I think Saw held up every time except for maybe Jigsaw. But just about like that's like a 9 out of 10, which I think is just about impossible.
Yeah.
That's the unicorn to me. Scream has, however, not it's not done well as it's aged. It's just not gotten. It's not found another gear.
Even like I'm generally a little more forgiving towards horror, as you saw when we talked about Psycho Killer. Part three, I watched that again last night, and it does have some really great moments in it, and they are all with Parker Posey. Um, they tried to lean into that. It's a trilogy. We're not going to make any more. It's a trilogy, so anything could happen, and anybody could die, and then nobody dies. None of the, like they set it up so that Sydney could die, or Dewey, or Gail. Nobody dies. Not even her love interest. So
Yeah. I don't know. Like they're gonna have it be like somebody from one of the past movies who I even forgot survived. Like
yeah,
that's what's gonna happen, and I'm just gonna be. Isn't there's just I don't think there's anything they can do to reveal who is under this mask that is going to make me go, oh wow, that's interesting.
yeah. I don't know.
Short of just like openly supernaturally resurrecting one of the first movie characters.
God, I hope not. Yeah,
go go full on supernatural, and maybe you might be able to surprise me. But at this point, I can't. I don't think I couldn't even tell you who the other characters were from the other movies. They're just so deeply unmemorable to me. I'm gonna need to take like a list of the cast of Scream Six just to check. Is that who that is? Who is that? Who? Oh, okay.
well, the indestructible twins are back. So, the ones who have gotten stabbed multiple times in both movies and are alive because they're quirky and fun and everybody likes them.
Because they're the Wonder Twins, secretly the Wonder Twins from Marvel. They can just be
This
stabbed
is
and stabbed and stabbed and stabbed and just keep
I
bouncing back.
I I have watched these movies a lot. My niece, who is 17, um, she she hated horror movies before I moved back to the area, and I got her to watch Scream, and it scared the shit out of her, but she loved it. And I have my Voodoo account is signed into her TV because I like to go over there and watch movies with them, and I have better taste in movies. So I signed into their TV, and every once in a while, I'll open my Voodoo, and the original Scream is about halfway through because she started watching it again and then fell
Huh.
asleep or stopped or whatever. But it's funny, like she watches the original a lot, and occasionally she'll get to Scream 2, but the newer ones, which are like her generation, so to speak, she we saw them in the theater together, or the last one in the theater together, and after that she goes back and watches the first one, if that tells you anything about.
Yeah, that does pretty much say a lot.
But we'll talk about the new one and go a little more in depth on the first one next week.
Yeah,
So,
that's the plan. All right, Jeff, thank you.
all right. Have a good night.